One day, a scientist in a lab who was working with a group of mice noticed that several of her mice were getting sick and dying. Terribly concerned, the scientist wondered what could possibly be wrong with her mice. She cared for them properly, making sure to give them food, water, and adequate living spaces, but still something was wrong with them. Then all of a sudden she had an idea. She recalled from one of her previous microbiology classes learning about germ theory of disease, which states that microbes cause infectious diseases. She also remembered learning that living cells like bacteria don't just appear out of nowhere, like previously thought in the theory of spontaneous generation. Instead, living cells must come from pre-existing living cells. This is known as biogenesis. In 1976, a German physician named Robert Koch wanted to test the germ theory of disease and come up with a method to prove that a specific microbe causes a specific disease. In doing so, he came up with Koch's postulates. Koch's postulates state that the suspected pathogen must be present in all diseased animals and absent in healthy ones. The pathogen must then be able to grow in a pure culture. The cells from the pure culture must then be able to cause disease in a healthy animal. The pathogen must then be re-isolated and shown to be the same as the original. The scientist began to think and realized she needed to use Koch's postulates to help her identify what was wrong with her mice. She first drew blood from sick mice and healthy mice. She then decided to run tests on the blood and examine it under a microscope. After examining the mice blood, she noticed that a bacterium called Bacillus anthracis was present in the blood of the sick mice and was absent in the blood of the healthy mice. Bacillus anthracis is a gram-positive rod-shaped bacteria that causes anthrax, which is an infectious disease that when inhaled can cause respiratory issues. Now that the first step of Koch's postulates has been completed, it's time to move on to the next step. The scientists then used the T-streak to isolate a pure culture of B. anthracis, completing the second step of Koch's postulates. After the pure culture was isolated, she introduced the bacterium to healthy mice. After she introduced the bacterium to the healthy mice, she noticed that they became sick and died. She then ran more tests and identified that the bacterium B. anthracis was present in the mice that became sick, and then she was able to re-isolate it. After using Koch's postulates to discover the issue with her mice, the scientist was able to solve the problem and was incredibly happy to put her microbiology knowledge to use.